Hello, folks, and thank you for joining the show today. Come on in, and get in where you fit in right here around my table where I always have room for you. This is a special edition today. I have a fantastic guest, and we've had a lot of folks come on and ask us to come up with some great tips about how to help folks with diabetes and things of that nature, but also for some great tips on how to be healthy. Some healthy programs, some that are out there, some healthy eating that are out there. And so today we're going to do that for you. So come on in, get in where you fit in right here around my table. So please go ahead and tell your friends, tell your frenemies, tell your family members, and tell your coworkers, and you can even tell strangers to come on in and get in where you fit in. And when you come in, please come in and put a number 1 in the comment below so that I know you're here. And also, please let us know where you're coming from, because we have folks that come in from all over the world, and we want to make sure we get you acquainted, okay? So we can, rely on each other's services and share in the wealth of knowledge that we have. So today we're going to be talking about the importance of how to take care of yourself amid the COVID, but also just on a day-to-day basis. We have a wonderful expert that's going to be joining us shortly that's going to be talking about how to overcome some complications with diabetes, because this individual, she often dealt with people with diabetes, and I believe she also was diagnosed with diabetes herself. She is phenomenal when it comes to holistic practices and how to train your body to eat healthy, how to think healthy, and overcome a lot of the things that we're going through right now. So please come on in, get in where you fit in, and also go ahead in the comment, put a number 1 if you're joining us from anywhere around the world. Put a number 1 in the comment and put where you're joining us from, and I'll be sure to make sure I get your comments up. So as you come in, I always encourage my guests, please bring along something to drink. I always encourage you to have a nice glass of water, because it's just so good for our bodies and for our energy levels and things of that nature. So I'm going to take a sip, and I encourage you to do the same. So as we move forward, I just want to share with you that if you have any comments, if you want to reach out to our guests, please, by all means, reach out to our guests, and we'll be leaving her information in the upcoming as we go in the broadcast. So come on in, get in where you fit in, and we're about to get started. So here we go. So I want you to help me welcome my wonderful guest. She's phenomenal. She's a speaker. She's a coach. She's a trainer, and so much more. But I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about her. So if you will, welcome my guest, the wonderful founder and CEO of Discover Ultimate Health, LLC, Miss Phyllis Weaver. Hi, Phyllis. How are you? Let me make sure your mic is unmuted. Okay, please say again. How are you?
Hi, I am great. I am fabulous. I am so thankful and grateful and honored to be on your show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's so great to have you, Phyllis. I know you've been in the game for a long time, working with people, trying to help them discover their ultimate health. And I know that you run a lot of programs, but specifically, I think your primary love is people with diabetes and helping them to understand diabetes. Is that kind of on the mark?
Yes. I have a lot of family members who have diabetes, and my father is actually a diabetic. And so I do have a love for that, because I have had a family member who actually lost a leg
Wow.
due to diabetes.
Wow. Okay. So if you would, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a pharmacist. I've been a pharmacist for over 30 years, and I have always had a love for fitness. And so I've started training as a group fitness instructor. And I just love coaching people and consulting and make sure that they are using all of the tools that are out there to have the best health that they can.
So I know that you do so much in the community as well, and you help people to raise their awareness. So, as people come on in, come on in. This is our esteemed guest, the CEO and founder of the remarkable company that is called Discover Ultimate Health LLC. And where are you located physically?
I'm in the Raleigh area of North
Okay.
Carolina.
Okay, awesome, fantastic. So today we're going to talk about a couple of wonderful things. Primarily, we're going to talk about number one, the importance of understanding diabetes, because so many people have diabetes and are aware, but so many people are pre-diabetic.
Yes.
So I would love for you to kind of shed some light on what it what some of the symptoms are, if you will, when a person is pre-diabetic.
Well, actually, there aren't any real symptoms when they're pre-diabetic. A lot
Mhm,
of times people are pre-diabetic and they don't even know it because
mhm.
it actually takes years, sometimes decades, before actually type 2 diabetes appears. Uh,
Wow.
a lot of times, if they know that there's a family history of
Mhm,
diabetes, it's best to go ahead and start being
mhm,
proactive and getting
mhm,
checked, getting their blood sugar levels
mhm,
checked. By the
mhm,
time that they start having real symptoms,
mhm.
they're already diabetic.
Oh wow. Wow. That's amazing knowledge, but it's also scary because a lot of times people are walking around with diabetes and they don't even know it.
Yeah.
That's astonishing. So let's kind of tick up to what you said about the family history. Oftentimes, if their family history, it would warrant people to be kind of cautious and say, "Hey, let me make sure I'm keeping an eye on how I'm living my lifestyle, and make sure that I'm checking in with my physician to make sure I don't have diabetes." And at least that's my thoughts. What
Yeah.
are your thoughts?
Yes, exactly. A lot of times people wait until they're like over 40 or something like that before they start actually getting physicals done. But you really have to start a lot younger, maybe in your 20s actually, to get tested, to get your lab work done, to make sure that your blood sugar levels are fine, check on your kidneys. All of those things come into play. And actually, doctors have found that today there's some children that are pre-diabetic at the age of 8 and 9, and some have gone into full-blown diabetes type 2 by 16. So it's really important to monitor the types of foods that you're eating and the amounts, and that you're getting the right amount of exercise and sleep. So it is really important to just start early. I can't hear you.
Let me unmute myself. Okay, so I heard you say that children oftentimes can be diabetic. And one thing that I really want to get people to hear that again, because a lot of times we don't really know that kids can be diabetic, but I know I've heard some cases where they had like really, like young teenagers. I think you said as young as 16
Yes.
can be diabetic. So we
Yes.
want to let people know that, hey, children can be diabetic. So how often should we get our teenagers checked then? It maybe just if there's a history of diabetes in the family.
Yes. Certainly, if there's a history in the family. children should have their blood sugar tested
Awesome.
early on when they have like their regular pediatric
Hmm.
exams. Then they
Hmm.
should also start getting their blood sugar tests as well.
So does it kind of hurt a little bit? Because I know when I was an engineer for Kodak, I would work on blood analyzers, and I made the mistake of telling the doctor, because they had this kid in the lab and they were crying because they were afraid, but we needed to get their blood done so I could get to do the work on the blood analyzer. So I told the doctor, here, you can prick my finger,
Mhm.
trying to coach the kid. And boy, that finger prick hurt like for several days later, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Um,
it
but does it hurt for them to get checked?
um the finger prick can hurt, but the best thing is just to ease their minds and
Mhm.
let them know that it's going to be so quick that it'll be over before they know it, and it's
Awesome.
all worth it.
Awesome, fantastic. So for you folks that's coming in, please come on in. Please come on in. I have a fabulous guest today. She's taken her wonderful time out to come and join us because we've had so many people ask about getting more information out about diabetes and how they can be more healthy, especially in the mid of COVID, but also in their continued life. So today I have the wonderful guest. She is the founder and CEO of Discover Ultimate Health LLC. Her name is Phyllis Weaver, and she's here. She's an expert in her field, and she's been in her field for a number of years. And she's like a serial entrepreneur, and she's just here with a wealth of information. So we want to share this information with you. And right now we're talking about diabetes. So if you are on with us and you have family members or know people with diabetes, go ahead and put a number 2 in the comment below. And also let us know where you're viewing us from. We'd like to know that. And we'll definitely bring your comment up. So what we want to share with you right now is we want to share the importance of understanding diabetes one. And she's already shared that a lot of times people are pre-diabetic and they don't know that they're diabetic because oftentimes there are not a lot of symptoms that go along with it, but also because people don't get tested as frequently for that. That's not a test that they go in and say, oh, test me for diabetes. Is that right?
That's correct. That's
Okay. But you shared that when is the best time to get tested?
if, like I said before, if there is a family history, I
Mhm.
would start young. I start with when they're still in still like preteens or teenagers at least, and as a young adult, I would start in your 20s. A lot of young people don't even get physicals and things done because they feel like they're invincible, but it is good to be proactive because if you don't catch it early, then you have a high risk of having other parts of your body damaged, your organs damaged, your heart, your kidneys, your eyes, your nerves. So you really want to check that out and be proactive.
Wow. Okay. So, with that being said, for those of you that have just come in, we're going to move right into the importance of understanding diabetes, especially for those who have been given the diagnosis of diabetes. Can you talk about why it's important and how the importance of knowing and understanding about diabetes, how it impacts people, and how it impacts one their life and how they take care of themselves?
Yes, I know that somebody out there has a friend or family who has diabetes and may have had some of these complications. Somebody may have had a foot or leg amputated, or have had cardiovascular disease, like had a heart attack or stroke. or had problems with their eyes. And all of these are complications with the diabetes if it's not detected early enough. And so it's really important to monitor your body. Check your fingers. Check your body for any kind of circulation problems. Um, Look at your body and see if you're puffy anywhere, if you're retaining any fluid, if you're changing the way you're craving certain foods, if you're craving carbohydrates, if you're getting really tired after you, like 30 minutes after you eat, and you're starting to crave sweets. There are a lot of things to look for, and also um, a lot of people may have heard that they get super thirsty and have to urinate a lot. By the time it gets there, you're probably already in the type 2 diabetes. So it's
Oh,
really
wow.
important to understand that you got to take care of your body.
Okay.
You can't be afraid to,
Right.
uh,
Mhm.
for what might be. It's
Right.
best to just go ahead and check it out.
Mhm. And I'm happy that you said that people can't be afraid, because I think oftentimes a lot of people, especially men, don't go to the doctor. And I think some of that is based in fear, because they don't really want to know, or we as people oftentimes don't want to know any bad news. So because we don't want to hear the bad news, we don't go to the doctor. And what are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you.
Mhm,
Yes, because
mhm,
I've heard people
mhm.
say, no news is good news, and I'd rather not know because I'm gonna
Mhm.
die when it's time to
Right.
die, and I want to eat what I want to eat, I want to do what
Right.
I want to do, and all of that. But when you have that type of mindset, you're really setting yourself up for maybe having some. Um, Huge medical conditions in the future, and they're like really life changing. Diabetes is one of those diseases that is expensive. It is very expensive to buy the strips. If you get to the point where you're on
Mhm.
insulin is
Yes.
super super duper
Right.
expensive,
Okay.
and
Mhm.
it is just
Mhm.
costly. So if you can just go ahead and be proactive, take care of yourself, and um, hopefully you'll not have to worry about that
Okay.
expense.
Uh, so I want to share something with you. Look over in your chat, because I've got a question that's going to be coming up. Um, uh, so I'm going to shoot that there, so we can, that'll be a topic that we can talk about, and you can see it in the chat. So having said that, I see we've got so many people that are coming in and they're making comments, and I want to thank all of you for coming on. This was an impromptu. We had so many people asking to bring Miss Phyllis Weaver on, so we decided overnight that, hey, this is what we're going to do. So she's here. So I want to take some comments, Phyllis, because we've got comments from so many people all over the world. And please go ahead, put in where you're coming in from and where you're commenting, so that I can bring you up on the screen. Because of course, what you're here to say and what you're here to ask is super important. So hey there, good to see you all the way from Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us. Nathaniel, we appreciate you. And Terry Lesser, how you doing, my friend, from all the way from Japan? I'm sure you're here in the US now, so great to see you. Great to see you. So happy to hear. Augusta, Georgia, Patrice Campbell, good to see you. Miss Bautista, all the way from the Philippines. Angie out of Washington, D.C. Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And hey there, Mrs. Lena Taylor out of Baltimore. Good to see you. So I want to take the first remark by Terry Lesser. And Terry says, I've recently just been learning something or some about the effects of sugar highs and lows on the brain. And so I'm happy you said that. And we're going to maybe touch on that a little bit because sugar does have oftentimes an adverse effect on the brain. And any comments you wish to share about what you've learned, Terry, as far as the effects of the sugar on the brain, please put it in the comment and I'll be sure to bring it up right here. So I want to take Robert Booker. Hey, Robert, please put down where you're joining us from. That'd be great to hear. Robert said, when I made the last request of the universe, I needed one other to understand and agree with my resume request. Her first name is Phyllis. Just felt led to say this. Awesome. It's awesome. Uh, and resume was added to swipe, not me. We battle regularly, and I'm a pre-diabetic. Wow. So being a pre-diabetic, I want to ask Robert, what have been some of your challenges? So please put that down in the comment below. And Robert said, my doctor once suggested that I change my mailing address to his office. I was there so often. Wow, Robert. Wow. That means that you had some significant concerns with the diabetes. So let me ask you this, because this is Miss Weaver is our expert in her field. So, Miss Weaver, could you please tell us why is it that people have to continue to go revisit the doctor so often with diabetes? Is it a constant up and down with their battle?
Yes, it is. A lot of times there's so many factors that affect diabetes, and one of them is stress, your sleep, your eating style, your whether you're getting enough exercise, and there are just so many factors that can make your blood sugar go up and down. And so that is one reason why people really have to check their blood sugar levels every day. You really need to purchase a glucose monitor so that you know what's going on with your blood sugar.
Well, I'm happy that you said that because a lot of people they do that back and forth, and a lot of times maybe they don't understand, and I don't know if the doctors are having the opportunity to really explain why they're having these issues. Because one thing that I have been told and I have noticed is that people oftentimes they get this flood, they flood the doctor's offices, and sometimes the doctors don't have maybe an hour to spend with each individual patient, educating them on why it's so important to understand how diabetes works and how they can live a healthy lifestyle. Because I know personally in my family, we have several people that are battling diabetes. So later on in this broadcast, I think Miss Phyllis is going to give us some information on maybe some meds and some nutrition that you can use to help yourself. But right now, we're talking about why it is so important to understand diabetes and how it works. Let me ask you this, Miss Weaver. Do you think that it's really critical to understand and be educated about diabetes because it can help us have a longer life if we are more aware and take better care of our bodies?
Oh, oh, yes, exactly. The biggest thing of the biggest thing about diabetes, that is actually a lifestyle
Mhm,
illness. It can
mhm.
actually be reversed, and it can be completely reversed, and
Yep.
it can and you can end up either not having any symptoms at all or hardly any, but it can be reversed. You just
Right.
need some lifestyle changes, and it could just make a difference in your life.
Right. So I want to thank everybody that's coming in. Come on in, come on in. We know so many people with diabetes. So if you haven't yet, please like, share, and start a watch party, because we don't know. It's not just our life that we're looking to change, but we want to help change the lives of the masters. Or of the masses, if you will. So I want to go ahead and look at some folks that are chiming in. Hi, Lisa Allen. It's good to see you. Lisa said that she rather know. And earlier on, Phyllis and I talked about the fact that a lot of people just don't go to the doctors because they don't want to know. They don't want to hear that bad news. But Lisa Allen, she said, good afternoon, everyone, and I'd rather know. So Lisa, if you would, in the comment below, could you put why you would rather know? Because some people, they just don't want to know. And we're not judging anybody because they don't want to know. It's their choice. But as Phyllis said, we need to be able to make an educated choice to help us experience a longevity of life. So Robert Booker said, it is expensive. It triggered gratitude for my health insurance. So, and you know what? A lot of people don't have health insurance. So we want to talk about being grateful too. So thanks, Robert, for saying that. We want to be grateful for the health insurance we do have, but for those that don't have health insurance, in your expert knowledge, can you tell us, Phyllis, what happens with people that don't have health insurance?
It's sad that a lot of people without the health insurance kind of fall through the cracks, and they don't get to treat their diabetes like they should, especially if they have been prescribed medications and they can't afford to even pick up the medications from the pharmacy, or even if they know that they might have it and they just know that they can't afford it and just don't go to the doctor or do anything about it, and the disease just runs its course and just starts wreaking havoc all over their whole body, all their organs and everything.
Right.
Unless they are, unless someone educates them about lifestyle changes.
Right. And so Rosemary Sanchez, hey Rosemary, it's good to see you. Rosemary is here from Canada with us, and as like Robert Booker, he's here from Toronto, Canada. Rosemary said, what about the people that says regardless of what I eat, the body will die sooner or later? And we hear that. So what about those folks?
Well, that's kind of like a doomsday way of looking at life. I think that we're here to use all of our gifts, our talents, and everything, and to make the best of what we have that's been given to us. And it's kind of like not really being grateful that you are here and that you have this gift of life to share with other people. So it's important to go ahead and make the best of the time that you have here, and not go ahead and just say it's inevitable that I'm going to die. Yes, cells do die out gradually. None of us have the same cells that we had when we were like teenagers, because our cells die and regenerate every day. And so it's just important to just go ahead and do what you know is right, that will make you feel better. It's amazing how much
Mhm.
just a few changes can make you feel better.
Right.
And it's just it's just knowing that you have a purpose.
Mhm.
Choose to have a purpose, and that will make your change your mindset.
Yeah. And I want to say, hey, all the way from Cali, we got the remarkable speaker and motivator and change maker, Andy Audette. And he said, change makers on this live. And yes, we are here because we want to help folks that are afflicted, if you will, or that are battling diabetes, to understand that you can make a change. and Miss Weaver is here to help you make that change. And I want to say also hello to Terry Lesser. Hey, out of Columbia, Missouri. Good to see you. And another phenomenal speaker, Matthew Hammond, who is the husband of Dana Hammond, another great author and speaker in her own right, and he in his own right. So good to see you. I appreciate you. And Lisa, thank you for sharing. Miami Gardens is here with us all the way from Miami, and want to say a hi and a special thank you to Cheryl Lynn Ivaniski. She's a holistic doctor. And I just want to say, Cheryl, thank you for being here. And Cheryl says, Dr. Cheryl says, here, hi guys, love this conversation. Let's shine the light on diabetes. Great information needs to get out to people. And as you know, Cheryl is one of the most sought after holistic doctors that talks about diabetes. Actually, this is one of her specialties. And for those of you that don't know, Cheryl Lynn and I, we did a broadcast, a 3-day or 4-day segment where we talked about helping people amid the COVID to live healthy while we were in, but also to continue to live healthy once we rise above this. And that's one of the main keys that we want to also ask you, Phyllis, what can people do who have diabetes at this time when they're shut in to further enhance their lives and be healthy?
Well, I know that some people right now are having some financial difficulties, and a lot of times the most the the vegetables and things that are ideal are kind of expensive. Uh,
Yes.
but just use what you have that's at home. Check the amount of carbohydrates in it and make sure that what you're eating has less than 15 grams of carbs. And just be mindful of your portion sizes and to try to eat more vegetables and fruit if you have it, and exercise. That makes a big difference. You can just move in your house. Just choose to do whatever you want. Like back in the old days when you just did like jumping jacks and push-ups and um, waist twists and um, running through the house, just anything like that, and try to get some rest. And that helps a whole lot. Do anything that you can to de-stress. Um, you can meditate, do something fun that you enjoy doing. If you play instruments, play your instruments. If you love to read, read. If you like doing artwork or whatever it is that you know that you do that makes you feel relaxed. So those are some things that you can do with the diabetes to help.
Okay, fantastic. So thank you for sharing that. And I want to take another comment if I may. So we're going to take a quick break, and once we take this quick break, we're going to come back and we're going to take a quick comment from someone all the way out in South Carolina. So we'll be right back. So we're right back, and thank you so much for standing by. We want to take this comment all the way from South Carolina. We have Elizabeth Holt Brown, fantastic author. Good to see you, Elizabeth. Thank you for joining us. She says lifestyle illness that can be reversed. So what she's saying is it's reversible. So I want to defer to Phyllis about that, but I want to continue reading it. But she also said it needs to become a normalized conversation in many of our communities. So many of us have grown up listening to our elders speak about diabetes and their sugar. And that's right, that's what a lot of people call it, sugar
Yeah.
issues, as if we were all destined to have this same health issue in time. Rarely did I hear growing up about ways to prevent and reverse it. So thank you, Elizabeth, for your comment. So I want to nibble at this a little bit because you said that it's a lifestyle illness that can be reversed. So if you would, can you tell us a little bit about that? Is that valid? Can diabetes be reversed?
Yes, it can be reversed. People just need to be mindful of what they are ingesting. Like I said before, uh, make sure that your carb level is low. Eat healthy vegetables, clean. Try to eat as cleanly as possible. Vegetables, fruit. But when you're diabetic, you do have to be careful with the amounts of fruit that you eat because of the fructose, the sugar from the fruit. But the biggest thing is just to make sure that you're eating um, cleanly and not having as many fats, fried foods, processed foods, packaged foods, uh, things with lots of um, lots of flour, starches, the pastas, and all of that. Those contribute to more diabetes. So if you can just your eating habits and just curtail some
Mhm,
of the things that you enjoy. Like a lot of
mhm,
people use too much sugar. It's better to use maybe stevia.
mhm.
The biggest thing, though, that I'm finding is sleep.
Sleep.
There's a study that shows that someone that a person had only 4 hours of sleep for one night is more detrimental than a whole month of eating junk food. So it is really important to sleep right, make sure that your stress level is down, exercise, just monitor everything about what you have been doing before, and if you just make one change at a time, it
Mhm.
makes a difference. Drinking um, lots of water will help a whole lot.
Wow. So I'm happy that you shared that. So there are a couple of keys that we can get, especially for those who are on the go, like so many other entrepreneurs that I know of. Oftentimes we don't get enough rest and we need to get enough sleep. So I'm happy that you said that. And I love that you leaned on the research that was done that purports that people that get less sleep, like 4 hours maybe or less, may also be a target for um, the illness. But also, what I like that you said is drink lots of water. So many times we get so busy we don't drink water. I know people sometimes they'll say I hadn't had water all day, and
Yeah.
that's really terrible because we need water because we're made up. Most of our body is made up of water and we need water to survive and to thrive. So thank you for sharing that. But I wanted to also nibble back on the comment that Miss Brown made because she's talked about the fact that in her family they always talked about the sugar, and in my family we call it sugar too. I almost hardly ever heard of it being said as diabetes, but I think that we need to be able to normalize the conversation with hope about diabetes, quote unquote, sugar. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I think that I know that growing up, I just heard sugar. So and so has sugar, but it is something that we do have to have a conversation about. That if you just go ahead and monitor your sugar, go ahead and get a glucose monitor, check your blood sugar. every day. And one thing that I also know from research is that whenever you eat, if you go ahead and exercise right after you eat, it will drop your blood sugar levels a whole lot. And so it's just make little changes and make them become a habit. If you do it every day, it doesn't seem like work. And make the changes the way that you feel comfortable changing. And talk to your family members if you have to. If you're the meal planner or if you're planning a meal for multiple people, then have a conversation and say, hey, this is better, this is good for all of us, it's not just me. And so just look to people like health coaches and others who for support for your changes, your lifestyle changes. And they will give you like a protocol, some special steps to take that fits just your need. Okay.
I'm sorry, folks, you couldn't hear me. I apologize for that. I just wanted to acknowledge some folks that's on here with us. I wanted to acknowledge some folks that's on here with us right quick. We have Sean Siegel all the way from Ohio. Good to see you. And Shirley Patterson all the way from Patterson, New Jersey. Dr. Tara White from um, Montgomery, Alabama. Lena Taylor from Baltimore. And we also have Shirley Busby. Shirley, put down in the comments where you're from. It's good to see you. Happy you're here. And we have Mr. Nathaniel all the way from Nigeria, Africa. And we also have Vince Grassi, the director. Hey, all the way out of PA. Good to see you. Ashwa Patel, Gerard. Ashwa, please put down where you're from. We'd love to know where you're from. And we just have a whole host of people. Lisa Allen, good to see you. Oh, Larry Bush. Hi, Larry Bush out of South Carolina. Good to see you. Gregory Taylor all the way out of New Jersey. And of course, we have the remarkable Andy Auday all the way from Los Angeles, California. And we have so many people coming on. If I can't see you, if I don't call your name, please just take it for love and know we love you and we appreciate you, that you're here. Because we have so many folks. Remarkable speaker, Dwayne Walton, all the way out of Atlanta, Georgia. Just so many people. Janie McGrew, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. And just so many folks. Mary, my mom's on. Hey, Mom, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. I love you. Gerald Patterson, I salute you for your service to the military and for your sacrifice. Sean Lovely Saxton, another phenomenal person. Just so many folks on here. Ida, all the way from the Netherlands. Thank you for joining us today. And so many folks. We have folks from the Philippines. We have Pearl from the Philippines. We have Grace from the Philippines. Great to see you. And I want to take some comments at this time because the comments are super important. Because so many people resonate with this. We have so many of our loved ones who have diabetes, and many of us may have diabetes. And I love what Rosemary Sanchez said, all the way from Canada. She said, I think it's really a change of healthy habits for better, regardless of what people think or believe about you. And I love that she said that, because a lot of times when we start to change our diet, or we say we want to slim down, sometimes the first thing that people say is, no, you need to keep meat on your bones. But they don't understand oftentimes that they're trying to lose weight because of issues with diabetes, or because their family has a track record. So some people won't make that change because they're afraid of what people might say, because they're making the change. So what would you say about that, Phyllis? What would you recommend?
Yeah, I would still go ahead and do what you know is best for you. So you just have to block out the naysayers, because ultimately it is your health that's important. Whether you want to lose weight because of the chance of having diabetes, or just because you want to just be healthy, it's important to just do what's best for you, because you know what it is that your body needs, and it's not other people to say.
Right. And you know what? I love that you said that, and I love the way you said it. But this is also another thing that you talked about earlier on. We do have choices. We have choices in the foods that we eat. We have choices in how we exercise or not exercise, or what exercises we choose, especially in the mid of COVID, us being in this pandemic, locked in. A lot of people don't want to go out, but you've given people choices like, hey, you can do jumping jacks, you can run around your house. If you have someone in the house, like your kids or your spouse, you can play tag or hide and go seek or something, and get your exercise in. And I love what Dr. Lynn said. Dr. Lynn said, just knowing you have choices, learning more about what choices you have that you may not be aware of, and being consistent with them is important. Try fun things. So I love that she said that, because those of you that have some fun things that people may be willing to try, put a number two, no, put a number three down below. Put a number three down below if you think people should try fun things. And then I'm going to challenge you. Put a fun thing that someone can do in the comment below, like doing jumping jacks, running in place. How about this one? A lot of people played this when I was coming along, and I don't want to date myself, but 1, 2, 3 red light. People play that in their houses all the time. Okay, so put in the comment below some fun things that people with diabetes, or even people not even suffering from any illnesses at all, just plain old healthy folk, can do at home to keep their exercise up and keep their lifestyle up. So I wanted to pull this up from Elizabeth Hope Brown. She said, I was quoting and agreeing with Phyllis. So that's great. And Matthew Hammond, thanks for sharing this. He said, type 1 and type 2 are reversible. So we know that this thing is reversible. We know this thing is reversible. So our folks in South Carolina, Robert Brooker said he sees some folks from South Carolina. Yes, welcome, South Carolina. Good to see you. So the folks from South Carolina, hey, Daisy, good to see you. We want to share with you that this thing is reversible. If you are suffering with diabetes, it's really all a matter of, how you take care of yourself. And, I got another remark from Robert Brooker. He said, yes, and may I introduce you to a friend who has helped many reverse their diabetes, Charles Maddox, one awesome dude. So yes, please share that information with me. I'd love to have him and also have Phyllis on a roundtable that we're actually doing. This is a surprise, but I'm going to go ahead and let it out the bag. We're actually doing a show with Dr. Cheryl Lynn Ivaniski, who is one of the foremost sought after doctors, holistic doctors on health. We're doing a roundtable with Dr. Lynn Ivaniski, which will be broadcast. So yes, please shoot him my information. That'd be great. And I want to take this comment from Mr. Dwayne Walton. He said berries are good for diabetes. We need to reduce our taste buds. Wow, that's amazing. Because some folks earlier talked about sugars, and a lot of times, so many things that we eat are full with sugars, but it's really all a matter of changing our taste buds. And like you said earlier, we want to use some natural sweeteners like stevia. We can use different fruits, but you did say be careful because some fruits have such natural sugars. We don't want to spike our diabetes levels. But again, when we change our palate, a lot of times we don't have such a craving for sugars. Is my thought, and I think that's what Dwayne Walton is saying. And Dwayne, if that's what you're saying, please go ahead and tell us, yeah, that's what you're saying, and make your comment in the comment below. So, what are your thoughts on that? How about us changing our palate? What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea, and I'm glad that he brought up the point of the berries, because that was one thing that I forgot to mention, that berries are great for diabetes. They're great antioxidants, and they don't have all of that extra the high level of fructose, and so that's awesome. And yeah, there are some ways to change your palate, and there's one thing uh, that I recommend that you would definitely have to acquire a taste for, and that's juicing celery, fresh celery. Celery is a great uh, substance for your immune system, and so that would actually help a whole lot in reversing a lot of other um, illnesses. And that's something that you would need to do every day. It's not the juice, not celery juice that you would just buy at the store, but you have to make it yourself.
We've got a question from someone right here, that I want to bring up right quick. Where's okay? Here we go. So Matthew Hammond wanted to know what are some good sugars and some bad sugar levels to watch for.
Well, as far as your sugar levels, you want to keep your sugar levels. Oh, you mean like a amount of grams of food, or you mean like your actual sugar level?
So if you can touch on both of those, that'd probably be great. And if that would be great, Matthew, go ahead and put a thumbs up or a like or shoot some hearts up so
I can't hear you.
okay, can you hear me now?
Oh, now I can hear you. Okay.
Okay, fantastic. Apologies for that. Go ahead.
Okay, well, as far as if you're talking about your blood sugar, you
Mhm.
want your blood sugar to be like normal would be 83, around 83 milligrams per deciliter. And as far as if you are testing and you're diabetic, you want your A1C to be um, no higher than 5.7. Um, but if it's higher, then you just need to work on getting it down. But as far as like the best sugar, the best fruits to eat would be like the berries, the strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, and you can have lemons and limes and cherries as far as your sugary fruits. Um, so, and the other things that I forgot to mention, as far as your foods, make sure that you're having the right amount of proteins and nuts and seeds. So those are important to have in your diet.
So we have another question from the Philippines. It says, what can you advise to all parents who are having difficulty in controlling their kids and eating too much sugary foods? Wow, that's a huge question, because a lot of times parents, they want to love their kids, but they give them everything. And a lot of the foods for kids, like cereals and yogurts and fruit
Yes.
packs and all that, is just saturated with all these sugars. So that's a great question also. So what would you advise?
Well, the best thing is just to make sure you go through your kitchen and do a kitchen check and remove all of those sweets that's not natural sugars. There are some substitutes, like fixing foods that have like cinnamon, um, and fruits,
Mhm,
some fruits in your foods, and that will help with their sugar craving.
mhm.
But the best thing is just to not even have it in their sight,
Yep.
and so that they can't just go and, and grab a cookie or
Right.
something like that.
Mhm.
And you do need to watch the the, the amount of sugar that's in those cereals. And the cereals itself have a lot of carbohydrates. So just check your boxes, whatever it is that you get, just check the amount of sugars and carbs in it.
I
And then,
like this.
mhm.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Please go
Oh,
ahead.
I was just gonna say that sugar, the way sugars are labeled,
Mhm.
they can be deceiving because
Yes.
they come in so many different forms. So you just have to,
Yes.
check it out and just read carefully. The
Right. Mhm. So I was laughing because I saw this right here. He said, Dwayne Wong said, just stop buying it. Just stop buying all these sugary
hmm
foods. And the thing is, a lot of times we buy so many sugary foods because our kids want them, but also it goes back to our own palate, because a lot of times our children are trained to crave and want these things. Why? Because we started out giving it to them. And
Yeah.
and like you were alluding to earlier, and so I want to kind of backtrack on this, because you were going to talk about juicing, and Robert talked about the fact that he loves juicing, and this is something that a lot of people are doing now. So what would you say about the juicing? One, and two, Robert shared with us that he uses some juicing. He works out and he uses apple, celery, and parsley to juice, and he has an omega juicer that he uses. So what are your thoughts on juicing as a way of maybe we can help our kids, because the juice oftentimes it tastes good, especially if we use fruits and vegetables.
Yes, I think that's an excellent idea because a lot of times you can add the vegetables. You can add vegetables to the juicer, and that way they'll get their antioxidants, their
Mhm,
minerals, their vitamins, and everything. And then just put maybe one or two
mhm,
sweet fruit,
mhm,
and that way they'll get that sweetness that they
mhm,
want. And then they'll have a
mhm,
healthy drink that's great
mhm,
for the immune system, and
mhm.
it'll give them energy. It's great for the brain and everything.
Awesome. So for those of you that just coming in, please come on in, come on in. Put in where you're joining us from. We have people from all over the world joining this discussion with the remarkable CEO and renowned speaker, Miss Phyllis Weaver. She is phenomenal and she's been amazing here on the show thus far. We are talking about diabetes, the effects of it, knowing the precursors of diabetes, and knowing that you can reverse type 1 and type 2 diabetes through your healthy eating habits and your lifestyle. So with that being said, I want to also look at some other comments that we have, and because we just talked about juicing as an option for those who are diabetic and for those who are not diabetic. Even in the mid of COVID, you need to be healthy in your homes. Now, I have a comment from Robert Brooker. He said he was not allowed to have any fruit. And he said it's just as well because he had his fruit fill of fruit as a kid. So what would you say for those diabetics who the doctors have told, listen, no fruits for you at all because of the sugars? Would you recommend something like adding cinnamon to what they have because cinnamon is a natural sweetener? And if so, why? And are there any other sweeteners, natural sweeteners that they can use?
Well, cinnamon is great because it is good for your, actually it's good for your cholesterol, and it does taste good. It adds flavor as well as sweetness, and I would just recommend the only other real sweeteners that you can use as a diabetic would be like the stevia. There's just that's just it. You just don't bother with anything sugar, those other artificial sweeteners. Those are awful for you. Just stick with those two right now.
Exactly. And also she mentioned earlier, make sure you drink lots of water and make sure you get plenty of rest. We were talking earlier, a lot of us have such busy lives, and many of us don't get the proper sleep. I know myself, I'm up all times of the night, and I've just started to buy back into a regiment that I used to do, turning off my phones. And I challenge you guys, turn your phones off and get your rest, because a lot of times the lack of rest can cause us or cause our bodies to go into disease, because we are not at ease in our bodies, nor are we at ease in our minds and our emotions, because we lay down with all this negative information that's coming at us on our iPads, our cell phones, and all this stuff. And we try to go to sleep, and then our mind is just racing and we can't sleep, and we toss and turn for hours. So, that's really important that you said that. So we got to get our rest because it's critically important. So thank you for sharing that. And I want to take a couple more comments, if I may. I like this. Matthew Hammond said, any bad sweeteners, just stay away from it. And that's what Phyllis just said. Just stay away from it. And I like this, cinnamon and nutmeg in my eggnog all day. Awesome. Fantastic. And we got another comment that I want to make sure I pull up because it's super important. What herbs can people use to help with managing diabetes?
You can use the parsley, thyme, um, um, I'm drawing a blank.
Okay, I think you can also use cilantro as well.
Yeah,
Cilantro
yes,
is good for that. You can also use turmeric, if I'm not mistaken. Turmeric is
yeah.
also a natural anti-inflammatory. It is also a natural remedy for pain. And turmeric has a myriad of things that you can use. Another thing that you can use is the seeds from there's a plant. I use these seeds and I'm drawing a blank, but Dwayne Walton knows I've given him some of these seeds before when we worked for the hospital together. But there are so many natural things that you can use that will address your diabetes. And also black seed oil. Black seed oil is phenomenal at leveling you off as far as your sugar levels. Now, I will say that if you use anything like black seed oil or anything like that, especially if it's 100% cold pressed, you want to be careful, because a lot of times people will take their diabetic medicine and they'll use black seed oil, and it will cause their levels to plummet. So you want to do it slowly and introduce it to yourself slowly. I am not a medical doctor, but I have used and do use black seed oil for helping myself stay healthy, but also I've introduced it to many of my family members who have diabetes, and it has worked wonders for them. So just wanted to share that. And thank you so much, Dwayne. That was an excellent question. And if you have any suggestions for some herbs that people can utilize to help them with their diabetes, please put it in the comments below. And if you are receiving some dynamic value from this broadcast with the remarkable Phyllis Weaver that's helping us address and overcome our issues with diabetes, please put a 4. Put a 4 in the comment below, or you can type in value and that'd be fine. And please go ahead, send her up some thumbs up and some hearts. We want to keep those analytics going up. So with that being said, I love and thank you for the 4 and the value. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Go ahead and follow suit. Put that in. Today, again, we are talking about our body being in a disease state. We're talking about diabetes with remarkable Phyllis Weaver. And another thing from the Philippines, we talked about this. As far as sleep, we've got to get our sleep, but a lot of us are inundated with our phones. So all the way from the Philippines, Grace is saying, yeah, turn your phones off. And next week, I'll be running a campaign about the phones, and I'll tell you all about it. I'm going to be joined with some remarkable physicians from all around the world that I'm connected with, and some remarkable people in general that I'm connected with all around the world, where we're going to do a push so that we can help people stay more focused on their healthy habits and make sure that they get the optimal sleep and the optimal rest that they deserve, because it's unequivocal. We have to have our rest. And so we've got a bunch of 4 streaming in. Thank you so much, Grace and Patrice and Dwayne and everybody else. Thank you so much, Mary and Daisy and Gregory and everyone else around the world. Thank you so much, Ida. Good to see you, Ida. Thank you so much for sharing this. So we wanted to, because we're moving, well, we're actually past the top of the hour, and we had another item that we wanted to talk about briefly before we finish up. So we've talked about what diabetes is, what the precursors of diabetes is. We blew the myth out of the water that children or young adults can't have diabetes, because we know that that's false. Okay. We blew that out of the water. We talked about the importance of understanding diabetes and why it's essential that people should go to their doctors and make sure that they're doing their checkups. Even young teens should be checked up. And I think you said if there's a history of diabetes in the family?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so why is that essential, again, for those that are just coming on? Why is it essential, Phyllis, for people who have a history of diabetes in their family to be checked?
It's important because you don't want to wait until it's too late and that it's already gone from pre-diabetes to full-blown, because it takes sometimes decades before it shows up as type 2 diabetes. And it's actually good if you have that in your family to already start checking your blood sugar. Just go ahead and get an inexpensive glucometer and start checking your blood sugar at least once a week.
Okay.
Just keep a check on it.
Okay, fantastic. So one of the last questions we want to tackle, and I've heard, a lot of people want to know about this because there's so many myths. People are hearing, well, if you're young, you can't get it. If you're African American, you're more susceptible to it. If you're Caucasian, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have diabetes. If you're Indian, because of your diet, you may not have it at all, or you're less likely to get it. But it seems that And this is true because we have people from all over the globe on this broadcast that are aware of diabetes, that have some family member, a friend, or even themselves that are afflicted with diabetes. So there is a global awareness, but the question was this: who can be affected by diabetes? So, who really can be affected?
Anybody can, to be honest. It's not just family history. Family history is one part of it. It could also be if you are overweight or obese, because 60%, about 60% of diabetics are overweight. You
Mhm.
can also get it from medications like steroids. Sometimes they will kick you into having insulin resistance, and toxins, uh, toxins like pesticides and all of those, the ink
Mhm.
that's on your receipts
Wow.
can affect the beta cells in your pancreas. The
Wow.
also the retardants that's on some flame resistant for
Mhm.
your clothes, for like baby's clothes and
Wow.
some carpets
Uh-huh.
that can do that. All different kinds of environmental things can kick it up. So it's not just that, it's anybody, and there are just so many different things that can affect it. And it's not just the history like people think.
Wow.
Oh, and also, if
Mhm.
sometimes if your immune system is
Mhm.
off,
Mhm.
and infections,
Yeah.
that can kick you into it, and you don't even think about it.
Wow. And that's good to know because right in the midst of this pandemic, a lot of people, their immune systems are low, and which probably makes them more susceptible to get it. But that's another good thing that we're learning from you. If our immune systems are low, this may be a catalyst for the diabetes to creep in or to pronounce itself, because who knows, we could have had it long before that. And most people, from what Dwayne says, most people live with high blood sugar for an average of 13 years before it's even diagnosed.
Yes.
So it's amazing that we take our bodies through this kind of hellish thing because we don't eat right, we don't get the proper rest, and we don't drink enough fluids, and we don't get enough exercise. So some of you folks wanted to know a little bit more about some of the natural products that we could also use. So I sent out the call outs for that so that you guys could share that. So Dwayne said that we can use cinnamon, chromium, fenugreek, magnesium. These all may help. And I ask you, be sure do your own homework as well, because Dwayne nor we're not medical doctors. Now, unlike Miss Phyllis is a licensed. Where do we go to get our meds?
The pharmacist.
That's right. She's a
Pharmacist.
licensed pharmacist, right? I got so many responses on here. I'm trying to read and share, but we didn't put this out at first, but we wanted to share it with you because she's so knowledgeable. She is a licensed pharmacist. So she understands how medicines work, and that's why she was able to share that information with us, because I never knew that that people, I knew about the weight, but I didn't know about the medications, that medications can play a part in diabetes. I never knew that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because a lot of people don't know that. So, really quickly, before we begin to process and come off of this amazing broadcast, you had a question from somebody, and they wanted to know if you are taking clients, because they were very impressed with many of the things that you said. And I'm trying to find a post. I have so many here, so please bear with me. um, Here we go. Are you getting clients for personal coaching, uh, to help them with their diabetes and things like that? And that question is all the way from the Philippines.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I meet people where they are, where they want to go. and we set up protocols like 30-day goals and then 90-day goals, and see what happens from there.
Okay, awesome. I really like that. I really like that you're saying that because people just need to know and they need to have someone who has the knowledge to share and help them. So if you want to reach out to Phyllis, you can reach out to Phyllis at Phyllis at discoverultimatehealth.com, Phyllis at discoverultimatehealth.com. And I'm going to leave this up here for a moment so you can reach out to her and get the wonderful information that she has, and she can partner with you and help coach you through the 4 vills of diabetes. But not only diabetes, you also specialize in other things as well, which is a complement to what you do as far as diabetes. So can you quickly share that with us so that people also know what else you do?
I'm also a certified Zumba instructor, and I um, also help with people with autoimmune diseases because I actually was diagnosed with several autoimmune diseases about 6 years ago, and I've now pretty much been healed from everything. Um, Asymptomatic of one of them and no symptoms of the others.
All right. That's great. That's great. That's great. And so autoimmune diseases is something that you help people with. And I'm happy to hear that you were able to overcome the autoimmune uh, issue in your life. And quite naturally, I mean, is that something that people automatically pick up, or, are there signs?
Well, stress, for one, will cause a lot of it, and stress and lack of sleep, um, that will definitely cause your immune system to just go crazy. And so I believe that was one reason how I ended up with autoimmune diseases because I was super healthy. And then all of a sudden, I just started having all these crazy things happening to my organ systems. And so there is a way to avoid it, and it is your lifestyle. It is what you eat, what you do, how you rest, how you handle stress. So that all makes a
Fantastic.
difference.
Fantastic. So I think we had a couple people making some other remarks. I gotta say this is a thank you so much. Many folks are chiming in saying this is a great discussion, great conversation. Thank you so much. And yes, I agree. This is a great conversation. And so for those of you that I know everyone on here got some value out of this. So knowing that you've gotten value, please put a number 5 in the comment below. Please put a number 5 in the comment below, knowing that you've gotten value. And of course, please go ahead and reach out to Phyllis at discoverultimatehealth.com. If you need to reach out to her, if you want to educate yourself, some more, or if you need a coach in this area, she's a phenomenal coach. She has great programs, and she'll be delighted to help you help yourself come through and work out these things that you're dealing with, especially the fears that you may be having about the diabetes or immunodeficiency diseases or anything like that, because a lot of times we're just scared, and being scared causes us to be paralyzed. So we don't want you to be paralyzed. So with that being said, Phyllis, if please share your last comments for the day, because we're bringing Phyllis back and it's going to be another powerful interview. So would you please share your last comments of the day, give any encouraging words, and please also again tell folks how to reach you.
I just want to let everybody know that it's important. I'm here to wake you up, to wake people up, to have them to acknowledge their bodies and know that there can be changes done to have optimal health. And so I just want to make an awareness of things that people didn't know before. And the way you can reach me is at Phyllis at Ultimate Health, discoverultimatehealth.com. Phyllis at discoverultimatehealth.com. My phone number is 919-429-0835.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that information with us. You've been phenomenal. We love you. We appreciate you. And thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for the high fives. We appreciate you. We appreciate you being on here. And please don't forget, like, share, start a watch party, send this information all out as we head out. And we thank you from the bottom and tops of our hearts to all of you wonderful folks all around the globe. Thank you so much. We appreciate you and have a great day.
Thank you.